Hey everyone, this is your association board chair, Tim Conley. It's about 4 o'clock on Tuesday, the 18th. If you listen closely, I should hold my mic up by the window. You can hear the construction going on all around me. The project is in full swing. There were over 25 workmen here. A few more than that. There was an additional crew yesterday. So at any rate, we had our monthly meeting last night. It ran for a couple of hours. Went very smoothly. A lot of good conversation. About a dozen members in attendance. Plus the board. I mean, so that was cool. We passed the budget for the upcoming year with a slight increase in dues to keep pace with inflation on our bills. We have some projected increases on the costs to maintain the facility, and that's just the normal budget. That's outside the project, the scope of the project and the line of credit that we have for the big renovation that's going on, the repairs that are going on. But at any rate, so the budget was passed. You'll see that the minutes will come out. Randy gets them out within a week or two. Um, we reviewed the financing for the project, how much we spent, how much we borrowed. We haven't actually drawn on the line of credit yet, so we're not paying interest on anything. We're going through pretty much the funds that were paid up front. 2 units sold in the last couple of months, and when the units sold, the financing for the project was paid out of the sale. So there were two more basically full payments, which is great. So that's good. The We did a project update. That sort of weaved itself throughout the whole meeting. Things would come up and we'd go, oh yeah, and that's another thing about the project. Um, like anything, there's going to be some little snags, but we are on budget. We are on time. We're actually under budget. On time, we've got almost 50% of the work done. I'd say almost all of the tear down is done. Everything that's going to be removed has been removed, and a lot of stuff has been replaced already, actually. Um, the walking decks in front of your units are shaping up great. Everything is leveled, and it'll drain off properly instead of draining into the building, etc. There's so many things. I'd say just, if you want more of an update, you can get into the website, and there's a lot of detail in there as to what's going on with that. Um, the good news is our engineers are happy. All of the oversight people are happy. The foreman is running around, not just looking the other way on anything. A contractor started to do something that was a little bit off the blueprint and the guidelines, and the engineer was on site yesterday, and he's like, is that the way the blueprints look? And there was a bit of a conflict, and nothing got done that had to be undone because people are checking all the time. This project is going according to plan, really according to schedule, and most importantly, according to standard. This place is being really, really well repaired. So we're happy with that. That's the good news because you never know. You get into contracting and different stuff. There are some issues with the deck. I mentioned snags. So the parking deck was surfaced. Um, there was some blistering. There were some spots on the edges that weren't done right. The material we're putting on for lines wouldn't stick. Some of that's weather and temperature, etc. But I leaned into them pretty heavily this week and said, make that deck work right. I mean, it's sealed. It's not leaking. We're not happy with the surface. We're not happy with the adhesion, et cetera, et cetera. So at any rate, um, that's one of those little things that's going to come up. Oh, and as of yesterday, as I was preparing for the meeting, they were going to reside the pool where those windows are. There's a major set of windows on the south end, and the wall sloped in about 3 inches between the bottom and the top. So they tore into that. There may be some framing associated with that, but again, it's within the contingency allowance. We knew that things would come up. Um, some of the walls we thought were rotten weren't. Some that we had no idea. Turned out that there were issues, but it's all being dealt with. At any rate, the weather has cooperated off and on. I mean, you know what storms do to the coast. Um, but despite the weather, we're forging ahead. We're going to put some new pictures up on the website and probably later today, tomorrow. I'm going to go out and take a bunch right now. The entire ocean side of the building, west facing west, is covered in plastic to protect it from storms while they prepare to cover the decks, with the flooring material. And once that's on, we'll be able to take that plastic down. But for now, I can tell you as a resident living here, all I'm seeing is the inside of a sheet of plastic and it's not see-through. So we'll get to that as quick as possible. Um, Couple other things that came up. There's a committee working on replacing the spa. It is not going to be cheap, uh, but it has to be done. That's outside the scope of the repair project. It's just that the spa died somewhere along the way. And we'd really like that to be open by the time we start renting again. There are some plumbing issues. We had a backflow problem. We had hot water problems, etc. I feel like after many, many weeks of the management company, and I was probably more involved than I had to be, but between us, I think we have the plumbing issues on the run. And we're encountering some previously done repairs that have to be redone. Again, that's outside the scope, but that's the kind of the repair project, but it's the kind of just regular stuff that goes on that has to be, we continue to run the building, right? Um, the landscape's a mess. We have a committee. It's gonna, I hope, have more people on it in the spring when it's the project nears completion and where we decide, where to put rocks, where to put plants. Um, but all the big stuff is surviving. All the large trees and everything are good. Um, Safety is a big thing with a project of this size. There's material all over the place. I can tell you the crew does a nail walk, what's called a nail walk, NAIL walk at the end of each shift and make sure that there's nothing metal or, on the ground. Um, Dumpster after dumpster of material goes out of here. They're doing a good job with it. There's a safety report every week. If there's any concerns, they're dealt with immediately. The communication is good. So, um, that's really, I got to say, that's the majority of the meeting was dealing with that. There was probably more attention to the financing. Can you hear the construction? I can. Um, More attention to the financing and talking about, Buildium as a bill paying service. It's real important that you don't have to pay your bill. That's why we got out of QuickBooks and are making this transition to Buildium. Our management company is sort of overseeing that. There's going to be a few bugs, but again, keep up with the communication. Um, we're going to revisit the idea of whether owners can pay dues in cash and what's the role of checks and things like that. Better is electronic funds transfer with no charge, but I leave that I leave that to our treasurer and management company as to how they want to handle payments in. Almost everybody here pays their bills and pays them on time, and that's really appreciated. So big thank you for that. Um, Other than that, we'll just continue to keep an eye on the place. I have told several owners who are interested in getting back on the rental market that as soon as it looks rentable, we'll let you know. I just don't have a time frame on that, um, but it's going to be ASAP. Um, so yeah, that's the best I can say. So other than that, we'll soldier on into November. Here come the holidays. There'll be a couple project slowdowns around Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. But yeah, we're on target, and here's hoping for more good weather and for more good continued participation in the running of the Association of Unit Owners Surf Tides Plaza.